Welcome everyone to Shifting from Grudge to Grit, Grace, and Gratitude. I'm so happy and I'm ecstatic here that Ronald's already there while we were just having a quick brief. And I am still trying to get my Instagram link set up again, which I just did 2 minutes before this. But without further ado, let me just introduce Elsa. Elsa is dynamite in a small package. I was just saying before we went live that she is one of those people that honestly you want to be watching. She is one of those people that no matter what her story is, no matter what the traumas of her life has been, she sees it as there is wisdom in those wounds and she's got a purpose. And she's there to show others not to be a victim of these circumstances. So welcome to those that are here. I want to say thank you for Ronald for keeping us honest to be on time today. And then thank you, Jamila. Jamila's dialing in from a different city today, a beautiful city. Nonetheless, I think it's nice and hot there today, Jamila, from your side.
Yes, well, good afternoon, everyone, and good morning for those who have just woken up. And welcome, Elsa. We are so excited to have you, and I really, really am looking forward to listening to your story. And it's just, from what I've read and from what I've heard from Anissa, it's just such a powerful and positive story. Yeah, I'm here in Durban today. Just landed a couple of hours ago. It's beautiful and it's so good to be near the ocean, Anissa. I think it just has this healing quality about it, and I can't wait to go down and feel the sand under my feet. But having said that, thank you, Ronald, for your constant support and your wisdom. And yeah, Anissa, do you want to just go ahead and just welcome Elsa so that we can get on with today?
Yes, by all means. So let's give a little bit of a background. I normally like to put the guest on the spot and say, you go and read your own bio. But I wanted to share this. I mean, we were going to use a completely different theme for this conversation. And she spoke about her passion, the real power of empowerment. And I was like, whilst I like the theme topic, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about you, the dynamite, the diamond that you are actually, as Ronald is saying, diamonds come in small packages. And let's talk about who Elsa is. Elsa is a cycle breaker, right? And she's passionately inspired to empower others. What we refer to always here on this segment, their hero's journey. She's not waiting to be rescued, but reclaiming her power and shining brightly to the torch for other women to follow. She's a trainer and facilitator in the education and training sector and is passionate about youth development and creating purposeful young individuals who have so much hope for a better future. She's grown up in a drug and gang-infested community in one of what is referred to the Cape Flats in South Africa, in Cape Town, Elsie's River, and was abandoned by both her parents at the tender age of 5. She's the eldest of 17 children. Let me just say that again. 17 children. I'm wondering if it was a typo, but I'm just going to carry on.
Anissa, I wondered the same when I read it. And I thought maybe you had made a mistake.
No mistake at all.
Okay. So a childhood that is marked by abuse, but she's driven with that to empower others through her story. She works with township schools to develop young leaders, prepare them for the workforce, and help them find their true purpose by embracing and owning their story. So today is all about the power in your story, right? Strength in your story. So we're going to kick off with Elsa to share with us.
Thank you so much for having me. When Anissa asked me if I would be interested in joining you guys in the conversation today, part of me was like, let me come up with a story, because no, I don't want to be put on the spot. But it's Anissa. How do I say no to my coach and my mentor and my lifelong big sister? I can't. So like Anissa well mentioned, I'm from a gang-infested and drug-infested community, Elsa's River. That's frowned upon a lot. You don't hear much about Elsa's River. If you ever mention Elsa's River, all people think is about smash and grab, because that is what Elsa's River is known for. It's for hijacking. And yes, Jamila, I am the eldest of 17 kids. In actual fact, that is an error. It's actually supposed to be 22. We are 22 siblings.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 22 siblings. My dad didn't have television, I assume. But I didn't ask him that question. So from my dad's side, we were 17 kids. And then from my mom, we are 5. And collectively, that makes it 22, I assume. And I am the eldest. I come from a very abusive home, 2 loving grandparents that took me in as an abandoned child, as an orphan. I come from a quite abusive mother where the relationship, we're actually busy patching up our relationship. Anissa, I don't think I ever told you the story. We spent our first Mother's Day together this year. Huge step for me. But like you said earlier, Anissa, wisdom in the wounds. That is how I look at it. Very abusive home, both sexually and physically abusive mom. My dad abandoned me at the tender age of 5, along with my mom. My mom was in and out of my life. So I was forced to grow up in an orphanage just for a short while until my grandparents had the resources to take me in. I lived with 13 people in a 3-bedroom municipality flat. Until the age of 25, when I met the man that I prayed for, and I decided it was time to move. But prior to that, I was in a 5 years abusive relationship where I had my son with my previous fiance, my ex-fiance. And it was literally just a matter of I needed a way out. I could not be living with 13 people in a 3-bedroom municipality flat in this gang-infested area. But it was also more of not only wanting to move out of my grandparents' home. It was more of I wanted to go and see what was outside of Elsa's River. What lies beyond the borders of Elsa's River? Because I've always known that was not my destiny. Despite the abuse, despite all the trauma, like the abandonment, and even being sexually abused, molested by an uncle as well, who to date I have not even said anything to my entire family about. I've just left it up to my creator to deal with. But that has molded me, and that has been my driving force and motivator to always want to get out of my circumstances, and that my circumstances could never ever define my destiny. And so I left home at the age of 19. At first, I was pregnant, had a teenage pregnancy. Left home, thought it would work out, didn't, move back. Thankfully, I had a return ticket with my grandparents, and I used my one and only return ticket. And I was at home for just about a year and didn't think I was ever going to get married, never wanted to get married, because this life that was presented to me at first with my ex-fiance, the abuse and all of that, I was like, I do not want to get married. Let me be a rich lady rather and live with my cats and my son. And I met a wonderful man, and we have been together for 7 years, since 2017, moved in together, built a fabulous home, fantastic family, 4 children collectively, 2 of his own and 2 of my own, of which we share 1. And yeah, I can say I've reached my goal in terms of getting out of that circumstance. Yeah.
Wow, that's such an incredible story, Elsa, and hats off to you, for your strength and your determination, and for
Thank you.
you didn't allow all of these challenges, and such huge challenges, get the better of you. And
Yeah.
for you to turn your life around the way that you have. And, Anissa, you mentioned cycle breaker, and I just want to commend you and applaud you on that, because you're making sure that this cycle doesn't continue,
Yeah.
to your
100%.
yeah, and you're making sure that you're learning the lessons here,
Yeah.
and you're consolidating, and you're making sure that the next generation then will not have to endure or experience any of what you had to go through. So well done to you.
Thank you,
I'm
Jamila.
just in awe of your story and of you.
Can I mention, Anissa will always say, don't put me on a pedestal. I don't take the credit. She'll always say that. It's all you. But when my corporate journey started in 2017, I started at RCS in the stores as a store credit consultant, earning at the time it was 2013. I had my first child. It's you on your own. You have to make it work. You don't have parents to turn to for support. I was pregnant with my son while doing my studies. And to be honest with you, as a woman of color, colored girl, living in what we call the ghetto, I somewhat thought that maybe this pregnancy is a blessing in disguise. Like, this is my ticket out. I will be with a man. I will move in with him, etc. And I did, and it didn't work. And I worked in the stores in 2013, earning a salary of 2,000 rand a month, and I have a son. And 2017, when I met Anissa, this beautiful woman with a pepper and salt hair, with a beautiful smile, welcomes me warmly into the world of corporate. And that is where my journey actually started. If you thought my journey started with me leaving my home and now making it on my own, my journey started in 2017 in corporate, along with Anissa, that literally held my hand. And I always say to people, I want to be the big sister or the person that you wish you had. And Anissa was that for me, was because I was the eldest. I had to raise my sister. I mean, my sister and I are 6 years apart. I was only 10 years old when I had to pick my sister up from creche in the afternoon because my mom was too drunk. She didn't even know where she was. My granny was at work, so I had to come out of school, go and pick up my sister at creche, go make sure the potatoes are peeled, the rice is cooked. So when granny comes home, the meat is taken out, and granny comes home, she'll throw a pot of food together for us. And Anissa was that for me. I was like, oh, finally, the weight is just off my shoulders just a little bit. And there's somebody that's taking a chance on me. Because for some time during that abusive relationship with my son's dad, I was told, like, nobody will take a chance on me. I'm nothing. I'm not valued. Like, this will be my life. I belong in the ghetto, in Alcester, in the townships, and that is just it. And when Anissa decided, like, I'm going to take a chance on this person, I didn't know what I was walking into. People believed in me, had faith in me. I was like, why would you have faith in me? Like, I can only offer you so much. But she did. And ever since, the growth has been phenomenal, I tell you. I would sometimes sit and reflect, and I'll be like, wow, you've grown. Like, I look at people on social media, people I aspire to be like, and I'm just like, oh, I don't think I'll ever get there. What does it take? And it takes hard work and perseverance, simple as that. And actually, to be teachable, to remain teachable. And that is what my journey from 2016 with Anissa was like, learning to actually be teachable. Because at some point, I always had a wall of defense. Like, I knew it all. I've been through the rough patch. You can't tell me anything. And then just taking that wall away, just breaking it down and being like, okay, teach me your ways, goddess. Let's see where this gets me. And it's been an amazing journey of growth. So I am very thankful to Anissa, even though she's going to scold me after this, probably, and tell me, I know my big sis. I know big sis already. So thank you to Anissa. Absolutely, thank you.
What
Oh
a
my God.
beautiful tribute, Anissa. And I have to just step in here quickly to say, please, please accept it with grace. Allow
Yes,
her to
100%. I
allow her
agree.
to acknowledge the effect that you've had in her life, and accept it with grace, because we so often just don't want to accept that. But it's time that you just stopped and allow yourself to recognize what a difference
Thank
you've made in
you.
someone's life, just as somebody's made a difference in your life, and there's nothing wrong
Correct.
with that.
I love what
So,
Ronald just said in the comment section. Sorry, Anissa.
you want to
Can
get
you put
that
that?
back up there?
Love what you said. You got out the ghetto, and Anissa, definitely, because 2013, 14, 15, well, prior to 2016, Elsa was the ghetto. I always knew I was different. I always knew I was authentic. I always knew I would be different. I would pull up with a beautiful car, wonderful career. It was all a dream and in my imagination. But the fact that you're saying she helped take the ghetto out of you, ooh, the English I have now compared to then, ladies and gentlemen. Huge difference. Huge difference. I
Okay,
would love
let's just, can we just regroup? Okay, I receive it. Thank you very much. But this is today about you, your testimony, and your story. So I want to bring it right back. I do receive it gracefully. I am just a vessel, and I'm here. The reason why we started this segment is so that we can showcase these stories to say, you're not alone out there. Nobody's ever alone. We think we are alone, and we think we are not valued or sovereign beings. And yes, there goes my language again. But the reality is that we all are beautiful souls and are just needing to step into our truth. And that's what, and Altalin's here, thank you for using the truth word, truth be told. She is an amazing woman indeed. I can't deny that, because I look at Elsa and we a mirror for one another. And when I looked at her, I was like, wow, this is a powerhouse. And for those that don't know, just before we came on, we were talking about feeling emotional and wanting to cry. Well, when I see her in all her essence today, I'm not only seeing her today in that essence, I saw her then in that essence. And what is emotional for me to see is how you've reclaimed that, because you've always been that. And so the point of these sort of journeys is to say there's always darkness, but can we be in acceptance of the beauty that surrounds the darkness? Because we don't. We shame it. We make it seem like we are the victims.
Yeah.
And Jamila, you were talking earlier on another term. I would like you to share it here, just what that term is, because it was quite intriguing. But it is about how do we break these generational cycles, but not with judgment towards others. So, what I loved hearing is you are giving your mother grace. And you're saying, hold on, let me reconnect, let me not.
There we go.
Here we go. Here we go. It is that. This entire segment is to talk about how do we shift out of that grudge state, that victim, resentful,
Yeah.
the disease that we live with, in the suffering that we live with, into a harmonious space of having grit, radical resilience, and then saying, I've got the resilience, I've made it through. But okay, so what's next? Because it's not only a stopping there. Until you can move into grace for self and others, only then can you live a life of gratitude. So I want you to tap into that for us, unless Jamila can just share. I want you to share that other um,
Yes, yeah.
term,
Yes,
because I think it's quite apt for this conversation.
yeah. I think I was fortunate enough to go through this session of family constellations with a very, very knowledgeable man, and it's called holistic ancestral orientation. And it's about healing the trauma which has impacted our life through our ancestors. And that's why, you know, that whole issue about breaking being a cycle breaker resonated so well with me, because that's who you are, Elsa, and you are able to do this in this lifetime.
Yeah.
You connecting with your mum and fixing and mending those issues that you may have had as you were growing up, um, will allow her to do the same with her mum and generations that followed her. So it's such a huge learning curve, and it's so powerful that you are able to do this. But one other thing that I wanted to bring up is that you mentioned that you allowed Anissa in, because up until
Yeah.
that point you had this protective barrier around you,
Correct.
and you think that it's serving you, and in some ways yes it does, but in many other ways it doesn't allow all the good to come in as well.
100%.
So I'd like you to also just please just touch on that, and how you managed to break down that barrier, that protective barrier, to allow the good in, and also just about, if you could just touch a little bit about your reconnection with your mom, which I find so beautiful, because a lot of us, you know, don't have that opportunity. A lot of
Yeah.
us have already lost our parents, whether mom or dad or grandparents or whatever, that we have unresolved issues with, and we carry this along with us, and it unfortunately goes on to our children as well, and the cycle
Correct.
continues and continues in such an unhealthy manner. But it's just amazing that, you know, this is what I had done last night, and now today I hear that you are already mending your
Yeah.
relationship with your mom and reconnecting. So if you could just tell us a little bit about that, please.
Gosh, ladies and our viewers, it was hard. It was a spiritual transition to start with, huge spiritual transition. It had nothing to do with the flesh, if I put it that way. For all the years, I was fine with not having a relationship with my mom, because I am the person in the family that made it, the black sheep that made it. I was fine. I was okay. I had people like Anissa in my network, you know, all these fancy people. So I was fine. And suddenly I fall pregnant in 2019. I find out 2 weeks before I need to get married, I'm pregnant. And I say to my husband, we are not doing this. I don't know what we are going to do with this baby. I'm not doing this, because I've just wanted to have a child, just one child, my son. And I go to the ultrasound, and I'm eager to know what gender it is, not because I was excited, but literally because I wanted to know if I could manage to keep this baby, if it's a girl. I had no interest in having a girl child, no interest, because of my trauma. I watched my mom try to raise me through the abuse. My granny also tried her very best with what she knew at the time. I mean, I wasn't my granny's child. I was never her responsibility to start with. And that for me, they both struggled raising me, along with my aunt as well, that consistently would remind me I'm a mistake. I was never meant to be here. I am not, I don't belong in this family, and I'm just another financial and emotional burden because my mom left. Um, and all of that creeped in and triggered the moment I was told I'm having a baby. I said to my husband, if it's a girl, I'm going to give her up for adoption. I cannot raise a girl. I don't have the courage. I've seen what it takes to raise a girl. And at that moment, all of that wounds started opening up again. Because now again, in my head, I'm this mistake. Raising a girl is not easy. That's all I was thinking. When they told me I'm having a girl, oh, I cried. Ladies and gentlemen, I cried for months on end. And when my daughter was born, I cried some more. It was not postpartum depression. That hasn't even started. It was the fact that, once again, this is a trigger for me. As time went on, obviously, my husband being amazing father that he is, was a great support system psychologically, and he doesn't even know it. I would watch him take over when I just was in a dark space, when I didn't want to hear nobody call me mom or anything. It's 4 years later, and I can tell you, I have been the most amazing version of myself as a mom to a girl. Whew.
Take a moment. Take a moment.
My kids love my mom. I could never keep my kids away from my mom because it was never their battle to fight with my mom. When I watch my mom with my kids, she's a mom. And at some point, I was like, why could you have not been this mom for me?
Yes.
And you know what? I would purposefully sometimes take my kids to my mom just so that I could watch my mom being a mom, because I could feel like a little girl at that moment.
Oh my gosh, you're making me cry now. We need tissues. I need tissues. Oh gosh.
And I just let it be. I sometimes I had to hold myself together, like Anissa taught me, pull yourself towards yourself. I had to let my grudges go, and I had to just see this love unfold and be a part of this. And when I decided to take my mom out for the day, first person I called was the person that's currently in this life with us, is Chad Moody, a good friend of mine, blessing to our family. I said, friend, I've been tasked with this. I have no idea what the hell. I said, God, I can do anything for you, anything. I am not doing this. And my son kept on asking about his grandma, what are we doing, etc. But the first sign was, on the 2nd of April, my mother turned 50. After battling to get a car, the car of my dreams, I get a car on my mother's 50th birthday. And the first thing I could think of when I took delivery of my car, I always thought I was going to take my granny for a drive because I owe this to her. The first thing I wanted to do was call my mom and say to her, let's go and celebrate your birthday. I've never celebrated my mother's birthday ever. I've despised my mother and what she's done. And that was the first sign. Second sign was the Friday before Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And I called my granny and I said, please let your daughter know I'll be picking her up. So that is how I spoke about my mom. I would never say mommy, mother, whatever. I would say your daughter. I would say to my sisters, your mother. I would say to her sisters, your sister. And I said, please let your daughter know I'm picking her up on Mother's Day. I don't know what this is. I'm not trying to think about it. I'm trying for the sake of myself and the sake of my kids. And more importantly, the sake of my siblings, my twin siblings that's 10 years old, that's living with my mom, that's going through the same thing I went through. But there's no home for them to live in. They can't go into foster care. And I took her with me on Mother's Day. And I told her, I don't know what we are doing here. I don't know why we are in the car together. But let's just try. Let's try one, give it a shot. And my mom said she wanted to chicken out because she felt like I was going to disappoint her, trying to get her back for what she's done to me. And that for me was enough for me to say, Elsa, the roles are reversed now. You are mom, you were human. You also want grace and mercy. You also need to give somebody else a chance. Everybody deserves a second chance. So I've only briefly spoken to her. We've exchanged numbers for the first time after, I think it's been 8 years. We've never been in contact. I would see her because she lives close to my granny. I would just see her, greet, and that's about it. All of this coming from a woman that at the time I was pregnant threatened me and said, I really hope your baby dies. I hope something happens to you and that child. You do not deserve to be a mother because you are a horrible mother. You come from a horrible mother, is what she said. So you're bound to be a horrible mother.
Oh, I don't have any tissues, ladies. I might need to go and get some tissues because
Anissa, we warned you. We thought you'd be prepared.
Let me get some tissues. So excuse me, this is a first for the segment, but we said we're always going to be real. So at the 25th session, we are just bearing it all out. So you go ahead. My tissues are close by. I'm just going to grab them.
Elsa, I think you mentioned that she said that you've come from a terrible mom, and can you see how that's just projecting? It's her own insecurities, it's her own fears, and that's what she's projecting onto you. But it's amazing that you could break this down, and you could break down that wall and try, and that's what it's all about, right? Because you wanna get onto that path of forgiveness. And to be able to get to that path of forgiveness, you have to acknowledge and look into yourself, both you and your mom. And that's the beautiful journey that you are on. And how amazing that you can do that together while she's still here in this world with you.
Yep. You know, I took out a funeral policy for my mom some time ago. And I said to my husband, this is like, I'm only doing this because I don't want my grandparents to go through this burden. I don't want my siblings to ever have to worry about burying a woman that didn't even care about us. And on that day of Mother's Day, I was like, how would I have ever buried you knowing that I didn't try? That I didn't open up myself and I didn't give you a chance to ask me for forgiveness. I don't think I would have been okay living with myself like that, knowing I have children. And my grandparents always taught me, you're never too good to be bad and you're never too bad to be good. There is a bad habit that I have that I'm really working on, like rigorously now, where I sometimes portray my mother's habits or characteristics. It's the shouting, it's the aggression with my kids. Because again, I didn't grow up in a home and there was a lot of love. There was, how teaching me things, talking about psychological processes and emotional this and work readiness, that life after school. So I took what I know, I took what I saw, and the only way to reprimand my kids was screaming. And I would literally go into a completely different person. I would feel like a monster. And I would feel like my mom until my son said to me one day, "Oh, mommy, you sound like Ma Amber." Oh, guys, I cried. I cried that entire night because how could my child say this to me? But again, that was a teachable moment for me as well. It was acknowledging and being aware that, yeah, you are still your mother's child after all, but you're not her. You're not her. You're not that character.
I want to share something there, Elsa, because that last part resonates deeply with me. Because that rage, that monstrous. I even gave my name. Yes, I'm the monstrous mommy, or I don't know, something to that effect. I told my kids, it resonates because that's all we've seen and we were exposed to. But the fact that you have been able to get an awareness of that means that that unconsciousness has become conscious for you. And it's not easy, but it's part of us. And we can't shame that very part of us. And when we say, I will never be like this one or that one, we actually inadvertently become that. And maybe not in the same way or shape or form, but I'll give an example. I always said that I would never be my mom in the context of her life having had to, be living from the realm of prostitution. And yet I took on the archetypal role of prostituting myself in every one of my relationships by being a pleaser, by being the victim, by being the hero, savior. So just remember that this the behaviors that we take on is so deeply pathologized. It's in ourselves. And it's not something that we're just going to let go of or let it go. It's going to have to be lots of work that we have to do in order to unlayer it. I think Ronald made a comment earlier on around this one. We have talked about the epigenetics, generational stress, and environmental stress and abuse, even in our biology makeup, thoughts breaking the cycle. Because epigenetics, and I'm not an expert here, but what the reality is that we always say genetically we preconditioned to become whoever our family members are. Or if there's even conditions like terminal diseases, we say we'll become that. But it's not. It's the environment that dictates if we will become that. So if the environment does not allow that particular behavior to thrive, then we don't become that. And you've taken the conscious decision to say, hold on, I'm not going to show up like that. I'm going to have to break the cycle again of being harsh. But question I have for you is, feeling like that monster, where are you now in that stage? Because have you let that go and giving yourself grace there too? When you do still show up as that? Share with me a bit about that.
I shout in English now, hey? Hold on. But yes, I've been very graceful with myself. I quickly give grace to everybody else around me, thinking that because I want to fit in, the imposter syndrome. But I'm very hard on myself. I have been extremely graceful towards myself. I have set firm boundaries also, and action that I know, Anissa, this is something we speak about a lot where you want to drill into my head. Set the boundary, action it, stay consistent. But the grace, and I've never known this level of inner peace since I've started to be graceful towards myself. My son sometimes is very confused, especially now that it's exams. So I become this monster during exams because my boys will be boys, don't want to study. And during exams, I become this monster. It's constantly the screaming and the shouting. And the township comes out in me at times. And since that 2nd of April, since all of this transitioning happened up until now, I constantly have self-awareness, take accountability, take 2 steps back if ever I feel that. And I can literally feel the rage coming. Before I couldn't feel it coming, it's just instant. Now that I have self-awareness, I've had to have conversations with myself, deep conversations with myself at 3:00 in the morning when I wake up and say, self, you need to show yourself some grace, cut yourself some slack. You were human. It wasn't, the book of life wasn't handed to you, and you just can't be this perfect person, this perfect mom. Take your time with yourself. My son, however, loves it, but he's also very frightened because he just like is so confused. Like, so you're not gonna shout at me? Like, this is weird. Am I gonna be grounded? What's happening? He even came to come give me his cell phone the other day. I'm like, why am I getting your cell phone? Yeah, because I know you're probably gonna go off at me and you're gonna ground me and you're gonna take my phone. I was like, no, I need you to stay in the room and go and reflect and write down 5 reasons why you thought that that was okay. And then come and present that to me, read it to yourself, and then you'll find the answer. And then you will understand why doing that was not okay. So it's even doing things like that. I would never have thought of doing it. You'll see it on TV, parents doing it on TV. I was like, I need to shout at you and you'll listen to me and I'll give you a hiding and whatever. And, so yeah, I've not, ladies, and gents, I've never ever felt this type of inner peace since I have granted myself this level of grace. And it's also obviously helped me with my relationship and how I speak to my mom. I haven't had a way of speaking to my mom. I would speak to her like she's just some other family friend or family member. And you can see that it makes her, she feels good, like receiving this level of respect from me, how I approach her, how I like answer questions, etc. So yeah, Chad, that's here. Chad Moody, that's here. He is a fly on the wall, literally in my house. He can tell you. Just earlier, I thought I was gonna go off at my son, and he says, he reminds me, please don't, like no, don't do it. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's been
I think also it's difficult when you are experiencing a lot of challenges and you have a lot of responsibilities. Anissa, I'm sure you felt this here because just as a single mother, every responsibility is yours to take care of.
Yep.
And when things start to not go your way, you feel like, okay, I'm becoming my mom or I'm being this way towards my child. But it's also the situation that you are in,
yes.
the insurmountable stress that you are under, that you react in this way. But I also just want to bring up a point, Elsa, is that I'm sure that you got to a space of taking full responsibility for yourself and for all of the experiences that you've had in your life. And that brings me, it reminds me of the whole Hapuna Puna modality, of taking that responsibility, but also of saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you, and saying that and internalizing it and going through that on a daily on the daily to and that has such a huge effect on who you are as a person, but an even greater effect on how you relate to others, because you
Yeah.
accept all of um, those negative points about yourself. You start looking at yourself in the eye and breaking that down, forgiving yourself and allowing that grace for yourself. And in doing so for you, you are now able to do that for your mom. And it just brings me back to this point of, we have so much to learn and to unlearn
Yes.
and to relearn, and until that journey is never ever over until
True.
you're
Very
until you're
true.
sleep yeah until you're sleeping forever, and every day something new uncovers itself for you, and thereby
100%.
making you that incredible person that is sitting here in front of us today. And
Thank you.
again, I have to commend you on what a role model you are, and how strong a woman you are. And I just, it's incredible that you are sharing this and you are helping other young people to recover from their experiences, to recover from all of these generational cycles that have been placed on them, to recover from the environments that they have been you know uh, adhered to. So I could listen to you actually forever, because this is
I can go on, girl. I can talk.
Ladies,
Thank
so
you.
let's just acknowledge our beautiful, part, like the guests that are giving these beautiful comments. I just want to honor that and read out some of these comments to you, Elsa, because this is for you, darling. Ronald says diamonds come in small packages. He also acknowledged your intro. Speak on, he says. Faith and trust to enter another relationship. Amazing faith. Yes, beautiful woman, blessings to each other. And we know this is our favorite comment that we're going to trademark. You got out the ghetto, and Anissa helped get the ghetto out of you. Amazing. And Alzadine says, truth be told, amazing woman indeed. Ronald says, your sharings helped me to give insight into my wife and her warrior winning spirit. I love that. Warrior winning spirit. Yes, Ronald, we want to just embody grace and not just talk the talk around it. Here's Chad again. Chad acknowledges Elsa is such a phenomenal woman of grace. No matter what she has been through or continues to go through, she still finds space in her heart to give more to others. See, pursuit of that pain, it was purpose. Ronald says, we have talked about this, or we've read that earlier on. Aldeline, and how we all love little Emily. Oh my gosh, Jamila, you have to see little Emily. Emily is such a diva and the cookie cutter of her mommy, by the way.
I'm sure.
This discussion is valuable to see and hear the power to change, and it resonates. Such an amazing woman. Forgiveness. I ask myself these questions regarding my relationship as a son, father, and grandfather. Aldeline pops up again and says, Elsa, you are a strong and phenomenal woman. I'm so proud of you. Always remember that. Wipes tears. I think you know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Ronald says, I'm estranged from a daughter. So many missed opportunities when one is not aware. So here's someone who knows what it feels like not to have that father-daughter relationship. Thank you, Elsa. Thank you, each of you. And then imposter syndrome resonates, afraid to be oneself, a creative facade, a caricature or composite, fragmented, yes, deep conversations. Stop striving to do, be. We deserve to be our true selves. And then lastly, I lost the honor of being called dad. And Aldo just popped in another one to say thank you, ladies. I just want to apologize to the Instagram followers today. Somehow the Instagram link did not go live, so humblest apologies. It's unfortunately, if I do go and change the link now, it will end the entire live. So hopefully you can catch us on the replay on either YouTube or LinkedIn, which we'll put into the comments on LinkedIn. Back to Elsa. Jamila, have you got a burning question to ask her?
Where to from here, Elsa?
So, I'll tell you a little story. I did something crazy in April, but it was overdue. I manifested this, I prayed about it, and it happened. One morning in April, Monday morning, I woke up and I resigned. I have been working for 16 years of my life. I'm 32 this year. For half of my life, I've been working because I had to feed somebody. I had to feed. If it wasn't siblings, family, other family, children, I had to feed someone. And this year, I just decided I'm going to do what sets my heart on fire. And that is entrepreneurship. That is empowering young people in volatile situations. And going and using my story to impact lives, because purpose is nothing if you're not impacting. I have this motto: if I can impact one person instead of 1,000, one person will impact 1,000. So to answer your question, where to from here? First of all, I don't have a job, but I got a car, a new car. I love telling this joke to people. People are like, what? And then I say, oh, but I got a husband. There's a husband. So I am wanting to focus on growing my business in the fashion industry. I had a clothing store in November, opened it up, e-commerce store, had to close it down. I was very traumatized. You can ask Anissa in our OKR sessions. I was so traumatized. Like, how did you open up a store and close a store after a week? But I grieved. and I've accepted, and there is something after acceptance, and it's called rebuilding. So I'm rebuilding that, my fashion store. But it's more than just selling clothes, Jamila and Anissa. It's about showing women how confidence in your wardrobe, in what you already have, one, and two, showing them how to sell their pre-loved clothes, and to actually be an entrepreneur, sell their pre-loved clothes, and then spoil themselves with that money that they make. And then I want to fully focus on growing my training and facilitation, specifically in development, education and development, consultancy as well. I love the training and education space. I can stand in front of a classroom and talk the entire day. So, hence why I said to you earlier, I can talk all, but I love the impact that I make in a classroom. I currently train in Joburg once a week, to a group of learners that has been doing learnerships every year, and kind of a little bit lost a bit of hope because kind of being recycled. I hope none of my TIA colleagues are here listening to this. And when I started training with them last year, I could see the difference I was making. That was my territory. That is my territory, is impacting young lives, specifically lives of people of color that have lost a lot of hope, not only in government, but in themselves, in their parents, giving them the necessary toolkit for life after school, life after tertiary education, and saying, this is what you need to be your best self and authentic self in a world. I call the world the Hunger Games. It's like that movie. That's what adulting is. It's the Hunger Games. And to teach young people to be authentic, that it's okay to be authentic, that it's okay to just be, like Ronald earlier said. So, and obviously to be a leader to my children. Oh gosh, I cannot wait to see how my children just continue blossoming. I want to use this time to sit back and watch my children grow up. Want to take them to school, want to make breakfast for them. I want to get that I love yous and kisses, not in a rush because I need to go to work. But that's where I am, is continuous impact for youth development, and to focus on my business, on entrepreneurship, and also to upskill myself. I've recently started my short course in human resources because I love people and I want to understand how people think. I've started a course at UCT recently last week, and I'll be going to finish my advanced diploma in business management pretty soon as well. So that is it. And also lastly, to spend more time with my mom. We're planning a ladies' day in August for my birthday. I just want to spend time with my mom and my sisters, because me and my sisters have also unfortunately become estranged to each other. And I think with me giving my mom a chance, or giving our relationship a chance, my sister reached out to me after not speaking to me for almost a year. She reached out to me and asked if we could perhaps, by any chance, have to lunch maybe for my birthday. So that is what I'm looking forward to. And I'm excited about this new journey for myself, for my family, and for everybody that's in my life. I love the new Elsa, the new version of me, and I just see continuous growth and blossoming and impact that I want to create in other beautiful young lives as well.
Wow. Thank you for that amazing answer, full of positivity and ambition. And I wish you everything of the best and every success that you hope for. And I'd like to just mention something else. That you said that you thought you were the black sheep of the family, but you are actually the healer of the family. That is your role, and you are healing every relationship that you have now physically, that you are entailed with. And this is what the beautiful gift that you are offering to your children. I love how present you are. I love how much you are appreciating the present moment, of acknowledging the how fortunate we are to be able to see our beautiful children and to see their success and how they're blossoming, and the effect that you've had, the incredible, amazing, positive effect that you've had on creating these beautiful lives and developing these ambitious spirits. And well done to you, Elsa. It's
Thank
just been
you.
such an inspirational hour spent with you.
Thank
And
you.
please, when you do come to Johannesburg, please do get my number from Anissa, and I would really, really love to meet you and to hear more about these learnerships that you are involved in. And you're just, a breath of fresh air, and
Thank you
I
so
love it.
much.
I
Thank you
really,
so
really
much.
love it.
My husband is watching. I hope he's still watching. This is my formal application to let you know that I'm also planning to be a housewife.
Oh, I gotta love it. I got to love it. Yes, no, Elsa, you've set a new trend for us. We set the intention to be real, raw, and authentic, and you just brought all of that and more here today. So truly, truly grateful. I'm honored and privileged to walk alongside you and will continue to do so. And I am grateful to you as much as I am a sounding board to you. Somebody, what's this? One guy speaks about reverse mentoring. There's a reversal of roles. And you do that for me in a lot of ways. You also hold space for me. So I want to thank you and acknowledge you for that. And I am just ecstatic to see what lies ahead for you, because what you've stepped into is trust and surrender. You've stepped into understanding the true meaning of the impermanence of all of it. The fact that you said you left work, but yet you've just bought a new car, you understand the impermanence of having that cushy income or
Yeah.
going and building that for yourself.
Yeah.
And you also understand that your future is not determined by people, but by yourself. And you've been this nurturer and, like Tamila says, this healer to everyone. But what I want to ask, yes, Ronald, the bar has been raised through Elsa. Thank you for that. So, what I'd like to ask in the last few minutes that we have left, what are some of those really vital nuggets, golden nuggets, and lessons and learnings that you'd like to leave with this audience here? Because there's a diverse audience from the youth that you're so passionate about. I think Ronald is our senior, is 73, if I'm not mistaken, Jamila. But that gives you an indication. So, what would you leave for this audience and for those watching the replay so that it can achieve reaching the one person that's going to touch the 1,000 people?
I kind of knew that you were going to ask that question. And the first thing that came to my mind was, and it's been on my mind, a message to myself every day for this last week: show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. Don't leave yourself behind. Your circumstances is not temporary, and it cannot be changed by anybody else but you. Just show up for yourself. Be present and have grace for yourself. Hold space for yourself. Don't wait for other people to hold space for you. Hold space for yourself. And it's okay not to be okay sometimes. Just don't stay there. So important.
Jamila, any last comments?
Yeah, I think, I mean, coming from that, I don't know what more to say, but I just think that it's so important for us to continue to take responsibility for who we are, express
Yes.
remorse, ask for forgiveness, express gratitude, but most of all, I think express love for yourself. And
100%.
this love that you will have for yourself will in turn transform and heal the relationships that you have with others.
If I can add before we go, When I say show up for yourself, it's that very thing you mentioned, Jamila. Once you show up for yourself, healing starts, forgiveness starts. You get to know who you are. You get to know what sets your heart on fire. You understand your purpose and you have reason to live. So, again, just show up for yourself. And it's okay to take it in strides.
One more thing I just also like you to remember, Elsa, is that in as much as we try to break down the generational cycles, because we always associate the negative with it, I want you to also acknowledge the strong women that you are. And that has also come through generational cycles. So it's also very important for us to acknowledge the positive that we have been drawing from our ancestors, from your mum in certain ways. And now that you are on this journey of rekindling the relationship with your mum, you will now start to learn new things about her that you would never ever have known. You would understand her better in the way that she is responding because of the experiences that she's had, and you will find those positives, those strengths that you will recognize within yourself. So in as much as we get alarmed by, oh my God, I don't want to be my mother, or I sound like my mother, or whatever it is, but there's also positives that are waiting to be uncovered, and you're so fortunate that you're on this journey that you can do it with her. So I look forward to hearing more about that, and it's just been such a pleasure having you with us today, Elsa.
Thank you so much for having me.
And a big thank you, a big thank you to Anissa. This has really been such a gem that you've chosen for today's episode.
It's a pleasure. Also, thank you on that note. We are over the minute, 1 hour and 1 minute. But it's just been such a blessing. I'm very grateful, and until next week, I suppose. But I don't think this is the last of Elsa. I would like to do let's do a
follow up.
catch up with you to see where are you now, and what are those obstacles and barriers that showed up during this next trajectory of your life, and how did you stay with grit, grace, and gratitude within that realm of the new darkness that might come about. Because as we said, there is no destination. If we're trying to find destination happiness or destination peace or tranquility, and we're going to set ourselves up for failure. So I'm looking forward to hear how you have just, as the lioness that you are. Aren't you born in August? Yes, you are. So you are a lioness, aren't you?
Yes, a whole lioness. Oh, your calendar is going to be so full, Anissa, because I'm probably going to book sessions with you like twice a week with crying and weeping and say, what was I thinking?
I'm looking forward to being at that that Women's Day event as well. So can't wait to be there. And yeah, take care and be you, and bless us again with your presence here. Ronald, Chad, and whoever else was still here that hasn't maybe commented, Aldeline, thank you for your very valuable insight, input, and very kind, gracious words to Elsa. It is definitely very deserving. So I'll say goodbye on that note until next week from us. And thank you for making us cry too. We needed it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.